Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this WIOA Wednesday webinar. My name is Kirsten Bayer with the Illinois Center for Specialized Professional Support at Illinois State University, and I will be the moderator for today's webinar. Today's topic is Disability Employment Awareness Month, activities and ideas, as well as celebrating the month with us this morning. Just as a reminder, all participants on the call are in listen-only mode. If you have questions as the webinar proceeds, please post your question in the chat box or the Q&A, and we will address those at the end of the session with a Q&A session. Just a couple of other housekeeping things. If you have experience any audio connection issues, you can always feel free to call in using the Zoom phone number on your initial registration email. You can also access the slides from today's webinar if you would like to follow along, following the link that I've posted in the chat to everyone, and I will repost that in a second. You can also find the presentation recording from today, the slides, and any materials that go along with the webinar today on our website, which is icsps.illinoisstate.edu, as well as on the Illinois WorkNet website within 48 hours of today's webinar. But again, you can access the slides right now in real time through the link that I posted in the chat. Another quick housekeeping thing is that tomorrow each attendee will receive a follow-up email, which will include a survey asking about today's webinar. If you could please take 5 minutes of your workday to provide feedback and suggestions, it will really help our planning committee team improve upcoming webinars. And with that, I'm going to start us off this morning with our 2 WIOA Wednesday webinar polls that we always do every Wednesday, just for our analytical purposes, as well as so we can welcome everyone to today's webinar. So for today, we would like to know, where is your local area? I've went ahead and launched that poll, and we have some broad categories for you to select from today where you're joining us from. So we'll give everyone about 30 seconds to answer this poll, and then I will close it out. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and share results. So we have quite a few people joining us from Central Illinois today, which is great, and some from across the state as well. So welcome everyone to this WIOA Wednesday webinar today. And then our second poll from today, we would like to know is, which partner do you best represent? We have Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV, and Title V, as well as other WIOA partners and stakeholders or state or local workforce innovation boards. So please select the best partner that you represent that you're joining us from today. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll here and share the results. So most of you are joining us today representing Title I, which is great, and a few from across the board as well. So thank you and welcome everyone. Welcome to all of our partners and from all of your local areas. We appreciate you joining us on this Wednesday morning. And with that, I'm going to introduce our presenters from today, or for today. First up is Stephanie Leip. Stephanie is an employment resource specialist from the Workforce Development Unit at DHS and DRS. Stephanie has an MS in special education and a BA in speech communications. She also is an instructional assistant professor at Illinois State University, and she is a member of various WIOA committees and is excited to talk with us today about the National Disability Employment Awareness Month. We also have Sherry Sparks joining us today as a presenter. Sherry works for the Workforce Development Unit, and she is a manager there in DHS and DRS. She has an MS in Rehabilitation Services Administration. She also has a BS in Journalism/Public Relations. She has held various positions within IDES and is a former director of continuing and community education for John Wood Community College. And she is excited to speak about the presentation today as well. We also are joined by Pamela Krager, who is the Director of Human Resources at Peoria Production Shop. Within this position, Pamela has the responsibility for assuring compliance with human resource practices and assuring commitment to the PPS mission of hiring adults with disabilities. Pamela is an active volunteer in the Peoria community, where she has served as past member, board chair, and past president in multiple volunteer opportunities that she's had, and she's served as leadership in those, which is great, and we are excited to hear from her today as well. Lastly, we are joined by another presenter, Kathy West Evans, who is a certified rehabilitation counselor. She is fluent in the American Sign Language, and she has her MA in Public Administration and a Bachelor of Science as well. Kathy has been working in the field since 1978. She is a member and past chair of the Veterans Advisory Council, and she has co-authored articles focused on employment of people with disabilities, and she is excited to join us today and present as well. So with that, I am so anxious to hear from our presenters and from the board that we have conducted today. And so I'm going to hand it off to Stephanie Light to start us off this morning.
Thank you, Kirsten. Well, welcome everyone to the webinar. Today we will be celebrating the National Disability Employment Awareness Month by just giving you a variety of different ideas and kind of brainstorming how it is that we can have a diverse workforce. So first, we are celebrating and recognizing American workers with disabilities and to promote awareness to various employers about the diversity in their workforce and to include people with disabilities. So NDEAM, which is what we call it, is a celebration that happens every year during the month of October. And I'm going to briefly talk a little bit about that month. So in 1945, Congress declared the first week of October as the National Employee, the Physically Handicapped Week is what they originally called it. And then in 1962, the word physically was dropped to include individuals with all types of disabilities. And then in 1988, Congress expanded the week to the entire month of October to celebrate the National Disability Employment Awareness Month. So we'll be talking a little bit about the virtual employer recognition event and how it was that DHS-DRS as a state of Illinois did our first virtual recognition event to employees throughout the state. Next, we'll include a little bit about what kind of employer activities and events that employers in the state of Illinois can incorporate to celebrate people with disabilities. And then it's our national employment team. Just one second. And they will be providing business customers as a single point of contact to connect them with qualified applicants and provide resources and support services to those in your area and the net. They are involved in 50 states and the District of Columbia. So, and that is to create a coordinated approach to services and business customers through the national VR team. And they try to get national businesses to employ people with disabilities. And then we will be talking about different disability training programs that could be incorporated into your own company or your organization to promote people with disabilities and including them in a diverse way in your meetings, your lunch hours, after hours events, and just a variety of different ways. Next slide, please. So NDEAM, the theme this year for 2020 is called Increasing Access and Opportunities. It's a national campaign to raise awareness about disability employment issues and to celebrate as many American workers with disabilities. And this year is not only the 75th year that we are celebrating NDEAM, but it's also the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. There's a lot of different ideas that employers and state and government, federal agencies, and different disability-related organizations can do to celebrate. So I'll list a few of those. So now more than ever, flexibility is really important for both the workers and employers. Jennifer Sheary with ODEP, the Office of Disability Employment Policies, she has mentioned that people with disabilities are experienced problem solvers, and they have the ability to be adaptable. This month, they are celebrating the ingenuity of people with disabilities and what they can bring to the American workplace. There's a variety of different ideas that we can do to celebrate. Disability Awareness Day. You can create an NDEAM statement. You can create a display within your company. You can do poster boards. There's a lot of different ideas to send a positive message about people with disabilities. You can educate staff members to be inclusive of people with disabilities. There can be a formal or informal education events like doing a brown bag lunch discussion. You can send out an NDEAM press release for your company. You can post it on social media. You can develop a disability employment webpage on your website, or you can participate in a disability mentoring day. There's a lot of different ideas. Next slide. Yeah, so here are some more of the ideas that you can do to just send a positive message during the month. You can train your line leaders, you can train supervisors, managers, so that they can be understanding of their role and try to foster inclusivity in the workplace culture. You can do social media, like I mentioned, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, maybe promoting, having pictures of people with disabilities in your workforce and show them actually working. You can participate by having Disability Mentoring Day. You can bring in some youth with disabilities to understand what type of careers might look like out in the real world for them and give them some hands-on training opportunities. You could also bring in a guest speaker to present and talk about disability etiquette and workplace training, and what kind of reasonable accommodations, or bring in someone who has a visible disability and show how they can be successful in the workplace. You can set up a diversity committee within your company to ensure that people do have the opportunity to connect and receive support from other workers. Next slide. So here are just some other ideas. A virtual employer recognition event. I mentioned this earlier. We're doing things a little bit differently this year because of COVID. So we're now seeing more and more companies do virtual or webinars, workshops online, doing power lunch hours with employers, getting together, having discussions, employer panels, doing a virtual open house or virtual hiring event. Employer activities could include a variety of things. You could be talking about different types of disabilities, hidden versus visible disabilities, You can play games, be creative with your coworkers. You can mention how we celebrate people with disabilities. You could do true, false, or myths about people with disabilities. And then later during the slides, we are going to have some different ideas of what some other states have been doing to promote awareness during this month as well. So the National Employment Team will also be mentioning that later in the presentation today. So disability training programs could include a disability etiquette, a reasonable accommodation presentation. They could be talking about services that can be provided and how agencies can be of assistance to employers. Next slide. So now I would like to introduce Sherry Sparks, and she's going to take over from here.
Okay, Stephanie, thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here today. I want to tell you about our new unit, which is called the Workforce Development Unit within the Division of Rehabilitation Services. And we are a statewide unit. And although there had been some regional efforts to recognize employers during this special month, we wanted to do this on a statewide level. And so that's what we want to tell you about today. Obviously, because of COVID, we had to go about doing this a little bit different way. And Stephanie Life served as our chairperson along with Nicole Vega, who helped put together the process for the awards. We looked at some of the categories we could give, and we decided on the three you see listed here: Employer of the Year, Employer Partnership, and Extra Mile Awards. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about these later on. We made it easy to access the criteria for the awards, and we used a Microsoft form so that when you read about the contest, you could take one click and go immediately to where you could nominate employers for this award. Next slide, please. So one of the things we decided to do early on was to keep our contest nominations internal for the first year. We wanted to see how it would go, and obviously there's always room to expand, but we wanted to make sure we could do a really good job with it our first year. And we also decided to make the awards in each of the 5 regions for Division of Rehabilitation Services. Now, for many of our guests that are on the line today, you may not know that we have 45 offices for the state of Illinois, DRS, and those offices are divided into 5 regions. Region 1 is up in the Chicago area, and obviously we have a lot of high population and high density of employers. As you make your way down to the very bottom of the state in Region 5 and even 3, 4, and 5 to some degree, we have the Corn Belt area. And here we do not have as many businesses, we don't have as many populations, and we have a lot of distance between businesses and the people sometimes. So we didn't want to have to see a business from a smaller area like that compete against a larger business like up in the Chicago Region 1 area. So we felt it was very important to have winners in each of our 5 regions. Now, having said that, we didn't get nominations from all 5 regions the first year, but we were very happy with the winners we do have, and I'm going to be sharing those with you, and hopefully we'll have more participation in future years. So how we went about letting our folks know about the contest, we put it on our OneNet intranet site, plus our staff members shared via meetings, staff, emails, etc., getting the word out to the local offices and counselors. Then once the deadline actually arrived, we grouped the nominations into the categories by region as we just discussed. And for the final winners, we worked with members of our Workforce Development Unit team. Then we created certificates, and we mailed these certificates to the winners along with a letter and a media release. And under normal times, we probably would have had some kind of a big recognition event, balloons, possibly some food, a big rah-rah. But as you know, these are not normal times. So certificates being mailed was the best way we could get this honor to our recognition winners. And then we ask our winners to take a picture holding their certificate somewhere in their business. It could be an outside shot. It could be something going on internal. But we ask that they take this picture and send it back to DRS so we could post it on our OneNet site. Now, having said that, I didn't realize that this part of the plan might take a little longer than I expected, because some of these mailings got to our employers, but with so many people working remotely, they didn't see the release or the honors until maybe a week or so later. And so as a result, we are still getting the pictures, but that's okay, because we have plans to use these pictures and continue to tell these stories throughout the year. So we're very appreciative that our employers are taking the time to do this. And last but not least, we have drafted press releases that are going to be going out to the local papers and publications so as to give some recognition to these winners in their area. Of course, we will be working with our communications department and the Illinois Department of Human Services for final approval. Next slide, please. And now to tell you more about our winners. On this particular slide, you're going to see what the certificates look like. This happens to be one of our Employer of the Year awards, all to staff. And I want to tell you what we use as criteria for the Employer of the Year recipients. This award was presented to employers that take pride in their company when it comes to working with individuals with disabilities and incorporates a diverse culture. That specifically, they would be contributions to the mission, goals, and values of employing people with disability in a competitive, integrated employment setting. And as a team, we decided that anyone who got this award should actually have placed DRS customers within the past year, and all of these folks have. The first award is actually 2-in-1 with Alta staff and Maximus in Region 1. The staff commented that they needed to be recognized as a team because they work together as a team. Alta staff is the staffing agency that recruits and hires for Maximus for temp to perm positions. Employees start out on the payroll for Alta staff, and then after 3 months, they become permanent Maximus, a federal contractor, employees. So some of the things they've done is that they have been having monthly update meetings with our management counselor staff for over a year. They've modified their assessments, making it easier for our customers to work with. They've done real job previews, and they've given tours of their workplaces and have worked with us in a variety of ways. And as a matter of fact, in the past few months, they have continued on recruiting for other employer clients so that there's employment opportunities in the suburbs and not just in the Chicago area. So great effort on behalf of Alta staff and Maximus. Now our Region 2 winner in Lyle was Valid. And the corporate recruiter here, Peggy Collier, deserves a lot of credit because she is fantastic and on the ball. She works with their resumes with various management teams, and she talks to them face to face, and they have their own in-house training and the ability to move employees around to different parts of their abilities and positions within the company. So great job to Valid. And last but not least, Federal Express has been known for working with our customers for years. But this particular year, the nominator says FedEx hires persons who are deaf and with hearing loss. They constantly provide accessibility to them in meetings, duties, and everyday activities. So great job to Employers of the Year. Next slide, please. The next category that we presented was the Partnership Award. I might tell you that we had 21 selections overall. And the picture on the right, you're going to hear more about this from one of our speakers, Pam, at the Peoria Production Shop. But she actually has featured some of our customers that are working with her in her shop. And I'm sure she'll mention more about this. But I think it's a great picture to show about the Partnership Award, which is presented to an employer who partners with DRS in regard to their commitment to communicate and continuously educate and learn with our agency about the benefits of hiring people with disabilities. They provide real-time feedback, flexibility, creativity, and inclusive practices in order to grow and optimize both of our programs successfully together. Now I'm going to try to go a little bit fast and tell you some of the reasons why these companies were selected. Advocate Aurora Health understands the value of employing our customers and has done an exemplary job of communicating with us and has even started an internal initiative to make things go well. The American College of Surgeons was one of the first employers to partner with DRS. They were intrigued by the work that we were doing and invited our staff members to their office to meet their larger HR teams and gave them the floor so they could share about the work that we do. They regularly correspond with us and send updates on new job openings and are extremely excited about filling positions with persons with disabilities. Good job. Blue Cross and Blue Shield is an employer who is very enthusiastic with working with DRS. They access the community workplace by providing tours of their offices, and they participate in DRS-sponsored job fairs, job clubs, and hiring events. And they have a streamlined referral service by going through their contact in diversity and inclusion. All right, on Drive, Region 1, formerly known as Federal Mogul, they have invited members of our workforce development team and counselors to the facility to also receive an overview of the program and tour the facility. They have expressed satisfaction with DRS customers and have noted that the inclusion of disabled employees has had a positive impact in their workplace culture. Next is Lawson Products in Kent Automotive. The Senior Talent Acquisition Manager actually reached out to DRS after she heard about us from another employer. We thought that was pretty exciting. She put together a virtual tour video and a shared position with us to share with our customers and attempts to find positions for them at their company. Great job. You know, one of the things in our field that we work with is these different names of talent diversity, talent acquisitions, all people that are out working for the same mission that we are. Moving on to Amazon in Region 2, Amazon sends invites almost weekly, will be speaking at virtual job clubs, works with the Amazon accommodations unit, and works in referring resumes directly to even other recruiters within their division for professional positions. CNH Industrial in Region 2 has been shown to be a company in great initiative through the partnership with DRS. They provide information on practice and openings and give much feedback on DRS referrals. Northwestern Medicine Geneva has demonstrated a true commitment with our agency and Project Search to host programming and hire individuals with disabilities at all locations, including Del Nor, Central DuPage, Kitchwaukee, and McHenry. Next, we have Tyson Foods. And here we heard an amazing story about Kristen Daniels that was met at a hiring event in Rockford last summer. Kristen left the company on August the 24th, but to take another position at the Wichita, Kansas facility. But she was extremely responsive to emails and consistently sent leads and reached out for referrals and even assist with obtaining other Tyson Food contacts in other areas. So we appreciate that good work and look for developing a relationship with our new HR manager there. Spoon River Outreach Center is one that might not be typically thought of as an employer partner, but the Outreach Center happens to be the non-credit side of Spoon River Community College. They have allowed DRS to host workshops on understanding and working with persons with autism. Over 36 persons attended in the first one, standing room only, and the college handled all registration, made copies, and let us use the room completely free of charge. Secondly, they also invite the DRS Macomb Center to come to all student events and job fairs. They have free booths for us so that we can reach more persons that could benefit from our services. And this has been going on for at least the last 4 years. And they host WIOA meetings and events. Home Goods Bloomington has also reached out and done a lot of referrals, placed a lot of our participants, and done a great job for our company. Well, at this time, I'm going to pass along to the Peoria production shop because we'll be speaking a little bit further with them coming. But if I could go to the next slide, I'm going to tell you about the extra mile recipients. Then pass over the bazaar for just one moment and talk about RBG services. They have locations in various areas in regions 1 and 2, but they were honored for reaching out on multiple occasions for referral and having a high degree of interest in hiring persons with disabilities. The Hy-Vee Bloomington store works with HR manager Carrie Elliott, and they reach out to the STEP program, where they extend long-term job opportunities to students after graduation. They go beyond their duties by allowing employees to find a good fit for them in job tasks, hours, and support. Great job. And Personal Mobility, for those of you who might know, is a company that does van modification and provides disability equipment and modifications for customers. And this nomination said that we have found this company, which is in its 4 generations, by the way. They have found them to be very easy to work with for both our perspective and that of our customers. Okay, so I want to jump back to this picture. This is a bazaar, bargains in a box. This is one of those pictures that was sent in, and I want to introduce the players there. Brad Nardi just standing by, play by the rules. In the middle, we have our disability HR person, Gary Rosick, and on the right, by where it says people first, we have Chris Simler, the HR director. And they were nominated because they're definitely a team player. They have put together a partnership of over 50 other disability organizations that they work with. They have meetings and they send all of their openings to all those partnerships first, including the Division of Rehab Services. Obviously, if they can't fill them from the partners, they go on to the open public. But they have been very successful and have hired over 10 of our employees from our agency, and they're very proud, and we're very proud of the fact that over 16% of their workforce are now persons with disabilities. So great jobs, Bazaar and Bargains in a Box. And what we would like to do now, this is just one example of a company who put together their own personal video to share in celebration of National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And Kirsten's going to be sharing this with you now.
Okay, one second, everyone, while I get this pulled up. Here we go.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Smith, and I work at Bargains in a Box.
Hello, my name is Akila Romeo, and I work at Bargains in a Box.
I work at Bazaar. I've been working here for a year, for a whole year, 1 year.
I work at Store 6 at Villa Park, Bargains in a Box, and I'm a sales associate.
So my name is Ahmed Aliwa. I am the reverse logistics manager, warehouse manager.
I like it a lot. It helped me get to know a lot more people that are disabilities.
So I'm gonna ask
I look good with my new glasses.
Emmanuel Deegan, and my position here at the Bazaar would be logistical customer service agent.
Hello everyone, my name is Garrett Rossick, the current HR generalist and operations assistant.
And my name is Chris Simler. I'm the embedded specialist for the Bazaar.
So for Disability Awareness Month, we are doing interviews with not just current employees, but also with champions that help us get this program off the ground.
Okay.
And there you have it. What a great idea to help celebrate this special month. Okay. We should be having another slide come up here momentarily.
Yes,
Let's just kind of. Okay, our plan of action. Basically, we're just going to continue to feature our winners. We're hoping maybe we can do some panel presentations down the road with some of our employers. As I mentioned, we're going to send out releases. So we have plans to use all of this exciting recognition throughout the year. We are going to delay questions until the very end, but at this time, it is my pleasure to reintroduce Stephanie Lai for the forward moving of our program.
Yes, next slide, please. Perfect. So I just wanted to go back and to recognize why PPS has received that partnership award. We have worked with Peoria Production Shop for a very long time, over 20 years. And I have worked with Pamela. Our local office in Peoria and Pekin have worked with Pamela Krieger in terms of getting job leads, doing tours of their facility. We have worked with the CEO, and we've worked with them in just a variety of different ways, getting presentations to their team. And Pamela is always willing to be on employer panels for us or do mock interview clinics, as she has hired many, many, many of our customers over the years that we've been working together. And it was a very easy choice to recognize their company. And I just want to acknowledge Pamela as well. They have received several awards in the past, Employer of the Year, the Extra Mile Award. So this is nothing new for them to be recognized. So I'm just excited to acknowledge them and praise their efforts in including with people with disabilities. Pamela has served on our DHS, DRS State Rehab Council for the last several years. And now I'm just excited to introduce Pamela to you all, and she's going to talk about how she incorporates diverse workforce culture within Peoria Production Shop. So take it away, Pamela.
Just 1 second, everyone. Pamela, you just need to unmute yourself. Pamela, are you able to unmute yourself?
I'm trying. Hello?
There we go. Now we can.
Oh, good. I don't know if Stephanie shared with you, we've had lots of computer problems here today. So I'm so happy to be part of this. I love working with Department of Rehab Services and truly appreciate all of the support that the local office gives to our business. So I wanted to say that first. The second thing is that normally in October we have a big employee appreciation party, and we have games and so on and so forth. But this year we decided to change the focus because the majority of our employees here have a disability, and so we decided that we still wanted to make it fun, but also we felt a real need to add some education to what we're doing here. And so one of the first things we did was we decorated our lunchroom with cutouts that the best of our ability represent the diversity of our team. And so and I believe you may have pictures of that. So anyway, so we let everybody know that this month we're celebrating employee appreciation a little differently, and we're going to have a focus on our individuals with disabilities, though certainly not excluding those that do not have a disability. So then we went and we had signs printed for our lawn. And so that a lot of people in Imperial don't know we exist and wonder who we are. We have a gorgeous building, but what goes on in there? And so we put out signs on our front lawn alerting people that we were celebrating Disability Employment Awareness Month. And then what we did was we still wanted to include the parties and so on and so forth. So actually throughout the month, we incorporated some of the things that we've done for regular employee appreciation. So for example, today we're giving out envelopes. People can pick an envelope and there's money and gift cards and all that other thing. But more importantly, this year for our t-shirts that we would normally give that's celebrating a theme or whatever, is that we have decided that we're highlighting our individuals' disabilities and making difference side by side. And so actually next week we're giving out, everybody has t-shirts and bags and celebration, giftware and those kinds of things. Again, to remind people why we're here. Now, during orientation, of course, we really pound rather heavily on the fact that those of us without a disability definitely have our jobs because of those with disabilities. And so it's very important that we understand the service and the reason that we are here. Next slide. So we're showing videos during lunch, YouTube videos, and they're very random. But like, for example, one I found about low vision, and people knock into them all the time. And so, about wearing a button or what it's like to be autistic in the spectrum and so on and so forth. Now, the fact of the matter is that a lot of, most of our folks live with disabilities, but the fact is that maybe if they have a vision impairment, they don't understand what it's like to be autistic. Or for someone blind, who is blind, what it's like for them to navigate through the shop, for example. So we're doing that kind of education. We've also hired a disability education specialist, and I'm very excited about this. And so for all of our management team and our first level of supervisors, so what's going to happen is that we have a PowerPoint. We've done this before, and it's certainly going to be incorporated into our orientation now, but people are, will have a PowerPoint that may say, this is, a person with low vision, and this is what they experience, and so on. And then the presenter is going to give us an opportunity to actually experience what it's like to be that person for a short amount of time. Obviously, we don't live their life, but it certainly gives us some insight into some challenge that they may face. So we're pretty excited about that. The person who's doing this has given me the PowerPoint. And so now when we hire people in leadership roles, first line supervisors and so on, that now they will go through that training with me. Maybe not as effective, but nonetheless, I'll certainly do my best. And then, as I said, at the end, it's normally our big Employee Appreciation Month. So every single thing we're doing, like for example, I told you we're having envelope day. So before we present the envelopes, for example, we will be showing a video and just highlighting again and reinforcing the need for respect and opportunity and education into what we're doing. And then it goes down here, we want to be inclusive of families. So we're having a drive-in, we're having lots of contests, baby pictures, which is so fun. And so we're really trying very hard to celebrate while highlighting our individuals with disabilities and how important they are to our success and to Pure Production Shop and to the community for that matter. That's it. And so there are a couple of pictures. It's hard to see, but we really, you can see that a little better, that we really try to highlight the diversity of our employees. And we've had some very, very positive feedback. We had the hearts up, for quite a few months, and certainly now it was time to celebrate something different and the wonderful people that work here. Okay. All right. At this point, I believe it is my pleasure to introduce Kathy West Evans, who is going to be our next speaker.
Good morning, everyone. This is Kathy. I'm joining you from the Seattle area and excited to be working with the Illinois team. As was mentioned, I coordinate the National Employment Team, and this is a team of business specialists representing the 78 VR agencies across the country, every state, the territories, and District of Columbia. And collectively, we serve roughly 1 million individuals with disabilities a year. And we're working with a number of business customers and have established a team so that as we're serving a business in one area, if they have a footprint in multiple states, we're able to expand that and provide support across the footprint of the company. So 2020 is a big year. And it's a big year for us because it's the 100-year celebration of public voc rehab in the United States. As you know, Title IV of the Workforce Investment Opportunity Act amended the Rehab Act, but we've been in existence for 100 years as of June 2020. We were preceded in 1918 by the voc rehab program that focused on veterans and injured workers, most of which were in agricultural and the early industry. And this is the first time that the US really recognized that if individuals acquire a disability, whether it's during service or work-related or non-work-related, that it's key for us to focus on how we keep people working, which is the whole theme of this month. So in addition, we've also expanded our program to cover 89 programs serving Native Americans and Alaskan Natives on or near the reservations or villages, and they're part of our partnership nationally. So as we celebrate 100 years of vocational rehabilitation, on the slide you'll see a link to our website that actually outlines that timeline and the different changes over the years. So 100 years for vocational rehabilitation, 75 years for National Disability Employment Awareness Month, and 30 years since the passage of the Americans with Disabilities Act. There's a lot to celebrate here, and for individuals with disabilities, it's the celebration of careers and independence, and for our businesses, it's a celebration of having access to great talent and keeping it working. And so we are celebrating in almost all of our states across the country and the territories. And I just wanted to share a few examples of what different states are doing to celebrate National Disability Employment Awareness Month, the ADA, and vocational rehab. So our first state that I want to talk about is Iowa. And Iowa has really been looking at how they bring subject matter experts in to work with business to look at accommodations and what that means in the workplace. Of course, our goal in working with business is helping demonstrate how things work and be a resource to business. In fact, we just recently signed an MOU with the Office of Federal Contract Compliance Programs in the Department of Labor. And so we are focused on how to be a resource to federal contractors as well as any company, and that includes public sector, so our state agencies and federal partners and local government. So in Iowa, they hosted, in collaboration also, an event with Easter Seals, who's a partner there, and the vocational rehab program in Veterans Affairs. And they really focused on sharing valuable information on hiring and accommodations with a number of businesses, but they did it collaboratively. As we know, sometimes government can be very confusing to our business customers, so we try to make it as easy as possible. In Michigan, on the next slide, this just took place yesterday. The Michigan team joined the Michigan Diversity Council, and this was a really interesting event because it looked at disability as part of the larger picture of diversity and the intersectionality between disability and a number of the diversity groups, including race, culture, gender, etc. And I think it's interesting because we're starting to see a shift with our business customers on how disability is really part of that overall diversity and inclusion culture within a company. And that hasn't always been the case, but for people with disabilities, 1 out of 4 people in this country has a disability, and close to 21 million families have at least one family member with a disability. So the message here is this is not a we-they situation. This is about looking at workplaces and communities that are accessible for everyone, because this is the one diversity group that any one of us can join at any time. And so it was a great celebration, and I was excited to join our Michigan team yesterday. On the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about Oklahoma. Again, they focused on educating businesses and partners about the resources that were available at the national, state, and local level. So they had a number of their local partners join and the statewide level, and we joined to talk about the national employment team. We're working with a number of companies. One of them housed out of the Oklahoma area is Toro, and they have a multi-state footprint, and they were able to join and talk about what that partnership looked like. So once again, it was educating, talking with business and partners about resources, but also demonstrating what that partnership does and can look like for other companies. On the next slide, we're going to talk about Virginia. And Virginia has hosted a number of events during October. We have a long-term partnership with CVS Health. In the last year and a half, they've hired over 500 people from the vocational rehab system across the country. And Advanced Auto Parts is also a great partner. And then because Virginia sits in that mid-Atlantic area, there's a number of federal agencies that they also are very proactively working with and that we work with at the national level. So they had a number of virtual hiring and recruiting events for and with these companies and organizations. We also had a demo of our talent acquisition portal, and this is a portal, TAP, that we're using to centralize our talent pool. It is fully accessible, and it allows our candidates to connect directly with business, and it allows our business customers to access a known candidate pool of individuals with disabilities. We also conducted there some training sessions using the windmills, and I know that our Illinois team has trained on windmills as well. And this is the disability awareness program that we're using across the country, and we've hosted 2 training sessions on how to deliver this virtually, so that as we're working with a company, again, we can deliver across their footprint and do it in collaboration with companies to start that dialogue around what does disability mean. There's always so many questions, and it's a topic area that we haven't really had an open dialogue. So what we find when we're working with companies is that often that attitudinal barrier is the first barrier that we experience. So we work with our workforce partners, with our partners in the Veterans Administration, our community partners, to really look at how we can have that dialogue with companies and increase their comfort level and address that I want to say it's the stereotypes and the misperceptions that people have about disability because they see the medical label and they don't meet the individual. So we're really working to shift that dialogue, and it's been a great partnership, and we're going to continue supporting that. And I know that Sherry, our net point of contact in Illinois, can connect you with windmills training if you're interested. And then the last thing that they did, not least though, is that our agencies have assistive technology specialists as part of them. And so doing training sessions on assistive technology and reasonable accommodation to really help demystify that for our business customers. And then in my home state, on the last slide, Washington has an Interstate Disability Employment Alliance that they call IDEA, and it's a collaboration between Washington and Oregon because there's an area in the Portland, Oregon area is adjacent to Vancouver, Washington, and there's a lot of cross-state hiring there. So they got together and hosted a business event to introduce businesses to other businesses and to talk about the success. And they featured partners like Intel, New Relic, and Paper Tiger coffee roasters, helping remind people that we're not just working with large companies, but we're also working with small companies to support their success. And, you know, who doesn't need good coffee? I know I depend on it. So one of the other areas that I just received an update on yesterday, so I want to mention it, I don't have a slide on it, is our Alaska team. And this team works in rural and remote areas, but what they've done, much like Illinois has done, is they have set up a celebration in each of their communities across the state to celebrate with business customers National Disability Employment Awareness Month and to recognize those customers with awards and celebrations. So we're doing a lot. We appreciate our partnership with our workforce partners and with our partners at the VA, and really appreciate the great team in Illinois. And I thank you for being part of your session today.
Okay, well, this is Sharon, and I wanted to come back again. We're going to have some questions and answers here momentarily, but we do have a video that we want to share. And this particular video was written in celebration of all the wonderful things you've heard about, the 100th anniversary of VR, the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, and today we're going to use it to celebrate National Disability Employment Awareness Month. And this video, the words were written by Justin Dart, who was a key and central figure in the passage of the Americans with Disabilities Act, which celebrates its 30th anniversary this year. The artist is a former customer, George Dennehy from Richmond, Virginia. He has become an internationally recognized musician and motivational speaker, performing with major acts like the Goo Goo Dolls. He's spoken on TED Talks and captivated audiences everywhere. Perhaps even more inspiring is that he is a vocalist and a guitarist without arms, who is in his own right exceptional. And so at this time, we're going to conclude the formal part of our presentation with the national theme song for VR, Lead On DR.
Okay, and while I'm pulling this up, everyone, I would like to prompt you because we will be doing our Q&A after this. So if you would like to go ahead and type any questions or comments in the Q&A or chat box, we will answer those after this video.
For the glory of VR, jobs for people everywhere, both near and far, giving hope for all to fill the void, building new pathways to being employed. Lead on VR. Providing services that score, creating new careers that endure, working on skills and self-esteem, helping people to reach their dreams. Lead on VR. Success for those with disabilities, jobs and independence through capabilities. Celebrate the triumph of the human spirit. shouting loud its praises for all who hear it. Lead on, we are. Lead on, we are. For all that you do through the DSU. Lead on, we are. Lead on, we are. Lead on, we are. For all that you do through the DSU. Lead on, we are. Lead on, we
Okay.
Okay. Kirsten, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Stephanie, Pam, and Kathy for being presenters today. And on behalf of the Division of Rehabilitation Services, I want to thank Kirsten and her team for putting this webinar on for us today. We certainly invite you to share any of the resources that you saw in here today. And thank you all for being a part of our webinar.
Yes, thank you everyone. And if anyone has any questions or comments, I believe I don't see any in the chat.
This is a special feature presentation from OSER.
I apologize for that. I don't see any in the chat right now, but I will briefly put up the contact information for our presenters today. If you would like to reach out to them, you can feel free to do so. And so again, I would like to thank Sherry Sparks, Manager of Workforce Development Unit for DHS and DRS for the state of Illinois, Stephanie Leip, the Employment Resource Specialist for DHS and DRS for the state of Illinois, Pamela Krager, the Director of Human Resources for the Peoria Production Shop, and Kathleen West Evans, Director of Business Relations for the Council of State Administrations of Vocational Rehabilitation. Thank you again to our presenters. A couple of housekeeping things as we wrap up today. This presentation was recorded and it will be available within 48 hours on our website as well as the Illinois WorkNet website. You can also access the recording and PowerPoint slides through the same link that I sent out through the chat. That link will also be pushed out tomorrow morning along with a follow-up survey. If you could please take 5 minutes of your workday to go ahead and respond to us so that way our planning committee can better develop professional development for you. And with that, I don't see any questions coming in. So thank you so much everyone for joining us on this Wednesday morning. Thank you to our presenters and we will close this out. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, everyone. Thank you.